There we go. We've got some really cool stories to share. I've had the opportunity to hear a lot of these stories, and I know the cool thing about these stories is that they're all so different but the same. And there's always a common theme that I continue to hear, and I love hearing it. I hope that you catch it too.
Hey guys, if you could just mute yourself, because if I mute all, I'm going to mute Tim. So if you guys could all just mute yourself, that would be awesome. Thank you.
I got it here. Thank you. Okay. So I think what I was saying is with these shares that you are going to hear this morning, like a lot of the shares you've heard, there's a common thread. And every time I talk to people, I got to talk to a bunch of people yesterday. The interesting thing is that we're not all that different. And I think we all want pretty much the same things. And so what's cool about these stories is when you hear these folks share their stories this morning, this isn't the first time. They've shared it so many times. So one of the things I challenge you to do is take from it what's missing from yours. Like if it's their body language or their passion around what they're saying or the flow, just know they put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in talking to people and starting conversation. So we're going to get started with some shares, and then Rachel's going to bring us home with some client support. So I'm really excited about that. All right. So first up, we're going to have Integrated National Director, Sherrie Nalty. Sherrie is going to be coming on here. Sherrie, can you share with us your story this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Great to be with you all again. Sorry, I'm not Patrick. He has a 4:30 a.m. thing and he's on his way to San Diego. So you guys got me again. Is that okay? All right. So where was I before Optavia found me? Just in case you guys want to know why I stay on fire with Optavia, it has to do with where I was before Optavia found me. Before Optavia found me 2 years ago, and I prayed and asked God to help me not to cry, guys, but the miracle never got old for me, okay? So 2 years ago, I had a holistic doctor up in Orange County. I had metabolic syndrome. I had gut issues, excuse me. I had sleep apnea that I had no idea that I had. Patrick kept waking me up at nights and I was irritated, not understanding why he was waking me up. I had no idea that I stopped breathing in my sleep, okay? So, loads of inflammation, and my blood pressure prior to Optavia was 188/101. I was a stroke waiting to happen. My last doctor's visit prior to Optavia, they kept me in the office for about 3 hours until they finally stabilized my blood pressure. And then they told me it was okay to go home, and I drove myself. So fast forward, I'm in a state of depression. And here I am, love the Lord with all of my heart. Guys, I came from a religious background prior to Optavia that we believed in the power of fasting and praying. I was going on 30-day water only, 20 days water only, 10 days water only, 7 days water only, and then on the easier days, 3 days water only. The purpose of me saying that, can you imagine what shutting my body down, starvation did? Why you think I ended up in the condition that I ended up in? I had no knowledge until I found Optavia. So for me, this miracle of Optavia is the gift that I came to, because Patrick said to me when I told him I came clean and told him everything, Guys, as a pastor's wife, he had so much on his plate. I didn't want to tell him other things that was happening with me. I figured if I prayed and stayed in this, that guess what? I'd be okay, but I wasn't. Saw a ministry partner on Facebook and I was in shock. As we fast forward the story, because I only have a little bit of time, that's how I connected with Rachel. I had them over to my home and I'm thinking, okay, what is going on? What's happening? He lost about 85 pounds, completely transformed. So when Patrick and I had them over for dinner and found out, and he's telling me and his wife they have a health coach, and I'm thinking, okay, let's cut to the chase. So guys, that's why I'm wired the way I am, because seriously, okay? I'm like, okay, what is she doing to you? Let's go. And they're telling me of education and all of that. I'm thinking, what? So I said, give me her number. That's how I connected with Rachel. Guys, this right here, okay, the habits is what changed for me. I already had the discipline. In fact, I don't even know if Rachel remember when I said to her, when Patrick came on 3 weeks before me, why is Tim telling him to go 3 hours in field? And you told me 2.5. Remember that, Rachel? And she says, oh, Sherrie, because, I just wanted to just get you started. I said, lady, 30 days water only, 3 hours. I'm good. So the second week, I did the 3 hours. This changed everything, guys, because Patrick said, let's sit down and let's get in the book. There really is life in the life book and the habit of health book. This is not a game for me, guys. This is my life. This is my story. So in this, I now come to a group of people that I'm in association with, a community, and then getting them on a health assessment. When this Optavia has changed my life, I said, guys, if I need spiritual instruction, I'm going to Dr. Rick. However, I needed health information. I was desperate. So this is the answer. So when Dr. A says that this program is neck up, it's not a cliche, it's neck up for real. Okay, so now last year, my birthday, my girls got me this. You guys, this is not Michelle Obama, this is Michelle Obama. And I don't know if you've had this book, Becoming. My girl said, Mom, Ely, who you have become since up there. And guys, I'm getting better. I'm getting better because Optavia healed me. And that's my story. Back to you, Tim.
Awesome. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I love your story, Sherrie. I know all of the things that it's connected to. And I think when people connect with you, they realize where your passion comes from. And I think that's so important. A lot of times, oftentimes people assume that that is somehow conjured, but it's so real. And when you can explain your story, they kind of have a little bit of insight why you're so passionate about this program and because of what it's done. I mean, it's connected to so many years of discomfort at all different levels. And so I love your story, Sherrie. Thank you so much this morning for sharing your story. All right. Next up, we have Brian Russell. Brian, would you come off mute and share your story with us this morning?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Okay. I did not come into Optavia looking to lose weight, to become a coach, to have this transformation. I came into Optavia to support my wife, right? I'm not going to tell her story. Real quick, she had some issues that we had been able to figure out. She had figured out with fitness and nutrition, not Optavia. That led to her wanting to share and help other people. So she became a personal trainer, started getting into nutrition and everything else. That's how, well, that's not how we met the Richards. Our children go to school together. But that's how the whole nutrition and wellness conversation came up amongst us. And then Rachel said, you know, yeah, I could help people with nutrition, but so could you. Like, here's this vehicle. So Julie looked at it, started doing it and everything. I'm in the background. And at that point in my life, I had tried everything. I'd done P90X. I'd done that. I always get the acronym wrong, the HCG, the little drops. Like, don't ever do that, people. It's so bad for you. You'll lose a lot of weight. And all of your muscle and your energy and everything else goes with it. It's horrible for you. But I had done it. Like I said, I mentioned P90X. Yep, 90 days, torture yourself, got ripped. So in my mind, like, I can do anything. So I told her, I said, I'll be your test dummy. You know, I'll try this Optavia thing, eat 5 bars, fix a meal. You know what I mean? How much do I have to work out is what I asked. And they went, you don't. And I went, I'm in. Like, I'll do that. I can absolutely do that. So I did it. And in a very short amount of time, I don't have the exact dates, but I'm going to say somewhere around like 3 or 4 months, probably closer to 4 months, I'd lost a little over 70 pounds. So I got people's attention, right? Julie and I were talking about, like, wow, this thing really works. But everybody I knew and everybody I worked with and that saw me they were like, dude, what are you doing? I had people coming up to me asking me if I was okay. Like, are you sick? Like, no, I'm not sick. I'm fine. So that sparked a lot of interest. So we started getting a few clients, right? These are all people that I'm working with, that I'm noticing. So there are that are noticing me. So we end up with 15, 20 people. A large majority of them are guys that I've worked with. They don't know my wife. They know me. So now I'm coaching. I went from not even really interested in doing it to participating to now coaching. And I was still just doing a diet, guys. So fast forward, everybody on this call, everybody on here is coaching. I had that aha moment. I had that moment where conversation with Tim got me to open up my books and just start reading a little bit. The life book, guys, was not even out yet. I don't think. I think it was just, or maybe it hadn't come out yet, right? It was The Habits of Health. And he's like, just read the first 3. I think his exact words were, if you read the first 3 chapters and you can put that book down, I'll leave you alone. Something along those lines. Because you can't. You read the first 3 chapters and you're hooked. I had to turn around then and go back to all these guys that I had put on the Optavia diet and explain to them that this isn't a diet. Like, I got super excited about, oh my God, this isn't a diet. Like, this is so much more than that. And I had to go back to all these guys and try to get them fired up about it, which actually was really easy. I've found in my story, my journey, that if you get excited about something, then the people around you get excited about it. If you're genuinely excited about it, if you're trying to, like, what are you guys always chunking out? FOMO. If you're trying to create FOMO, if it's something you believe in, it's easy to do. If it's not, then good luck, right? So I got excited about the books. I got excited about the whole program, about the trilogy and everything else. And so did everybody around me. And then, guys, that put me on a path of just continual self-improvement. Like, I can't get enough of it. Like, I read books. I'm in this community. I'm always looking for a way to challenge myself, a way to grow. And right now, currently on my journey, and I'll wrap it up with this. I think the biggest thing so far, or to date, is I have acquired the skill or the ability to objectively look at myself and honestly answer, where are you? How are you doing? I don't always like the answer. That's a fact. I still get kind of cringed out when I really look inward, but right now in my journey, that's where I'm at. That's where I've come from. That's where I'm at. And I can't wait to see where I'm going to end up. So, Tim.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, the power to be able to tell yourself the truth and know where you are, man. I think that's really what, at least for me, or at least I think you heard it in Sherrie's story. I think you definitely hear it in Brian's story too, is that, we're learning to be more conscious about the thoughts that we keep and how they drive the actions that either are aligning with the life that we were expecting to have or not. And the more you can identify what those thoughts are and start to take a minute to think about, do I want to continue with this typical action that I normally do in these stressful situations, or the habits that I'm keeping around this? You start to see change when you're able to effectively look at those opportunities, those choices to respond in a way that's going to drive you forward. And so I've had the extreme pleasure to watch this happen so many times, and I know you guys have too. And it's evident in your stories, and I appreciate them this morning. Thank you so much. All right, I'm excited for this story. Sandy, would you come off mute and share your story this morning?
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share my story this morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sandy Ely. A little bit about me is I am 57 years old. I am the mom of 2 adult children, and I have 2 grandchildren. I work full-time as a registered nurse. I am the director of clinical informatics and the director of IT education. So I have a very full plate. Outward appearances, it would seem that I had everything, I was successful, I'm successful, whatever. But my physical body was manifesting all of my internal struggles. I was very obese. I weighed over 250 pounds before Optavia, but I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I just didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like I deserved to be loved. I just couldn't figure things out. And so I just prayed to God. I prayed to God that I would either accept my life, that that's the way it was, that it wasn't going to be any different, that I could just accept it, or that I would find a solution. So that's about the time that I was scrolling Facebook, and I found my friend Corinne Fox. So Corinne is Cody King's sister, and she and I worked together as floor nurses about 14 years ago. And she was right around my daughter's age. So we had developed this friendship, and she had moved away, her and her family had moved away. And I kind of just followed them on Facebook because I didn't really know how to use Facebook. I knew how to find people and watch them, and that was it. But anyhow, I just started seeing Corinne post this amazing transformation stories, and she was sharing the words that she was sharing about the internal changes that she was having. That's what just really grabbed my attention. And so she invited people, reach out to me if you want more information. Well, like I said, I didn't know much about Facebook or how to do anything, so I had to Google how to use Messenger. So I messaged Corinne, and anyhow, short story, we connected. She did a health assessment. I signed up right away. And so in the end of April 2020, I received my box and started my health journey. And the very first thing I did, I just ate the food. I just did what I was told to do. But pouring into those books, that was life-changing to me. All of a sudden, I was learning all these tools, the drama triangle. I was stop, challenge, and choose, above the line thinking, below the line thinking, empowerment triangle. I was learning about mismanaged emotions, and I realized that I needed to learn how to feel my emotions instead of feed my emotions. And all of a sudden I had this blueprint that I knew what I needed to do, and I had the missing pieces. And then I started believing in myself. And I realized I had the opportunity to rewrite my story and create my own life the way I want it to be. And I knew that I could make a difference. And so in August of 2020, I ordered my coach kit. And it took me a little time to do those 5 practice health assessments. And then my perfectionism kicked in, and I was overwhelmed, and I didn't want to. I was attending trainings, but I didn't want to reach out to my mentors because I didn't want to bother them. And I just didn't know what I needed to do. And that's when I realized that it was actually my ego that was holding me back, that was telling me that I wasn't good enough. And so now I'm learning how to do hard things, and learning how to do things scared. I hit ED for the first time in April of 2020, and then missed it in May, and I've consistently hit ED every month since June. I realized that I was holding on to these defenses and this negative thinking and these fears and all these things that didn't serve me or anybody else. And I have a lot to learn and a lot to unlearn. But as a client, you know, I've lost 102 pounds so far, but it's becoming that coach and getting into the personal growth and development that has made the biggest change and impact on my life. And just being able to learn these things and getting into different books and getting on trainings. And I'm so grateful to God for allowing me to find the solution for this community, that for the leaders who pour into me. And I feel like I belong now, and I feel like I have a purpose. So thank you.
Man. Wow, so good. I love your story. And I think, you know, what's interesting is that I think we've all been in those spaces, and our stories are not that different. I think what's different about what you shared and what Brian and Sherrie and so many that have gone before is just the courage to take the first step. And you can hear that throughout all the stories. It's almost like the pursuit. You're pursuing the hope that other people have. And I think that's really our opportunity, is to take our story and naturally, and not weird, but just like, can I just tell you, like, I mean, I'm just going to be honest, and I might get emotional, but this is what's happening. And I know it's uncommon, but because it's uncommon, it doesn't mean it's not for you. And so I love that in each of these stories, it was, I made a decision, and then I'm going to figure out all the how-tos after, but I'm moving forward. And you can just hear that pursuit in all of your stories. I love your story, Sandy. Thank you so much for sharing your story this morning with us. All right. We got Fireball here today. She is super, super duper excited to share with you this morning. She is, I tell you, one thing I love about this woman is that if you need like a warrior on your team, someone to come play, prepare, she's ready. So she's got some really important stuff to share with you guys this morning that I think is really going to complement what we've been talking about and kind of deepen the conversation, help you get into better, more effective action around your client support. So Rachel, my beautiful wife, would you come off mute? All right.
Thank you so much. Goodness, guys, I feel I'm having all kinds of feels right now. Like, honestly, seriously moved by this morning. Genuinely moved. And I'm just going to be a little unplugged for a minute. The business of loving people can be really challenging, and you can lose your way. You can make it all about you some days. You can get real frustrated because you want things so badly for people, and you get real attached to their why. And I can literally recall each and every one of the Coach Explorers. So like Sandy's Coach Explorer, I know exactly where I was sitting on that side of my house, and I know exactly what we were talking about. And I remember a moment of connection around you saying, yes, we see it, we do it, we teach it in the medical community. I'm used to that. Like, we just had such a great conversation. And I can remember Julie and Brian's, Coach Explore, and Sherry and Patrick's. And it's like, it really blows me away, because sometimes we jump in the Zoom and we're like, all right, I got to Coach Explore, let's go through this. And on the other side of that is what I get stoked about on that call, where I'm like, how soon until I hear them on a training? How soon until they bring their genius into this community, their unicorn talents and gifts? Like, I'm not thinking about, oh yeah, let's knock down another coach. Thank God that's not our culture. And we can know, like, I can't wait. So I'm floored this morning, like and Sandy, your voice, just everyone's finding their voice. And same thing with Sherrie this morning. Sherrie was so sick, you guys. Like, she was so very sick, and she was so torn around in different directions by naturopaths. And she had a binder like this big of things she was to do and not to do. And I just said, put your binder away. Let's put it away. Put the supplements away, put it all away. And let's just start over with this 5-in-1. And so it's just miracles on miracles. So I'm a bit moved this morning. Let's go into a few minutes of how to support a struggling client. Okay, the very first thing is, what we have is a gift. It's a beautiful gift. I want you to think of something that you have received in your life, right? That is so precious, and someone gave it to you. But if I were to take that precious gift that someone gave to you, maybe for Brian, it might be like something awesome for hunting. I don't know, that he's like, wow, my wife had this made for me, and it's so beautiful. But if I were to take that same gift that's knocking his socks off, and I'm trying to give it to someone else, they may not accept it. And they may say, I'll put that up at the yard sale, right? It may not be something that moves them. And I think that's the hardest part of a struggling client, is that you're like, will you please just accept your gift? This is a gift, and you're fighting with it, and you're making this harder than it needs to be, right? So we can get that frustration. Why? Because we care, because we want it for them. So not everyone is going to take your gift. I do want to back up to what Annika said yesterday, because it's so perfect for what I'm going to share with you today. We're here to help clients discover what they can do. That's what we're here to do. She said that. That was beautiful. They're going to go on different destinations. Our job is to figure out what is their destination. Okay. They're going to want to travel to different places, but they don't have a roadmap. We do. That's the gift. They're going to need a guide on their journey, right? We're the guide. We're the loving guide there to point out obstacles and things that are getting in the way. So we're going to fuel their body, but the hardest part is when we ask to fuel their mind. When we ask to fuel their mind is when you're going to see their wall. And their wall has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. I have encountered some difficult clients this month, and all I can hear is their wall. It's their wall that I'm talking to. It's not them. Okay. So remember, when you hit something hard, that's the client's wall. Our job through relationship is to take one by one those bricks out of their wall. Okay. You're just, every time you engage with them, it's like, can I see you yet? No, your wall's pretty tall. I just want to take one brick and move it aside. So let's go through some very practical things that we need to do to get better with struggling clients. Very first thing is to ask better questions. Ask better questions. They do not need your advice whatsoever. The internal destination and what they want to create is what you need to awaken. The most powerful question you can start the call with is, remind me, why did you buy your kit? Can we please go back to the day that I did your health assessment? Will you go there with me? Why did you start this journey? What was it that you wanted to create? Remind me. They're going to bring themselves back to reality. They're in fear, self-limiting beliefs, and scarcity. And it's our job to shift them back to their answers and help them discover what it is they want once again. Element 1, what's your why? Why are we here? I will tell you, the struggling client usually has not been awakened to their why. And if they have, it sure as heck isn't been peeled back 7 layers. So when I get on the phone with your clients, you've seen me do it before, I will peel back that why. Well, I need to show up better for my kids. Okay, why? Well, because I'm the only parent they have right now. And okay, why is that important? And then next thing you know, we're 7 layers down and the tears are dropping. Okay, now we got a why. Now we got something to contend for. Now I know what I'm chasing. So many times, if you have a struggling client, their why has not been identified. And if it is their why, it's the why that they gave you to get started. It's not their true why. Okay, so peel that back. The next thing is get that out and verbally accounted for with you. Make sure that you recap it. I did a health assessment yesterday. I meant to bring it in here. I always recap what they say on the health assessment. So what I'm hearing is you don't feel like you're laying a good example for your 8-year-old son. You're worried that your current model of health is going to end up hurting him. Yes, that's right. Okay. I'm also hearing that you haven't felt good in a really long time. And in summary, you're just getting through your days. How long has this been going on? Then the tears came, a long time. Thank you for sharing that with me. Make sure you thank them for their vulnerability. This is hard stuff to look at. And then say, okay, I've got that. Is there anything else? Is there anything else that you want to create in your life that you currently don't have right now? So the why on the health assessment has to be peeled back. That day, they're going to give you a couple things with each interaction, peel that back. So when I do that, this is a struggle call. I always anchor back to the why. The very next thing I do is get them to shift to gratitude right away, right away. So tell me, my friend, as you sit here, I understand our opportunity today. I understand that you're frustrated. I understand that you're a little bit hungry and that you're questioning whether or not you can do this well. That's pretty normal. Can I take you to a section of our books together? Do you have your books near you? No, I don't. Can you go get them? They're at work. Okay, I'll read mine. 77 in the Habits of Health book. 6 stages of change. So you've had a relapse and a lapse the last couple of weeks. Okay. Did you know that was a permanent part of change? And it's the 6th stage of change, and that it's expected and that it's normal, and that in the years of coaching, I have not ever seen, typically, except for Michelle Singleton, wherever you at, basically start the journey, stay in fat burn all the way to the goal, right? Super rare. Like that's so rare that I wouldn't expect that to be what's happening. So in light of that, what are you awfully proud about that you've created so far? Well, I'm really proud that I'm starting to drink water. Awesome. Tell me about that. Were you not a water drinker before? Remember, I'm on a struggle call. I don't necessarily know the client, but this is stuff that I do with my clients firsthand, because I don't typically have anyone helping me on my struggle calls now. It's like Tim or I, right? So we've had to get really good at it. And that comes from failing at it a lot. So be willing to do that. But I've said, okay, so you're grateful that you're a water drinker. What else? I'm grateful that I'm eating 6 times a day. You know, I used to starve myself. Awesome. What else? What else? Because you know what? Gratitude cancels out grumbling. So keep it coming. What else are you doing? So here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that every week you expect a touchdown. And really what I'm hearing is you're doing a damn good job at getting yardage. But you just can't see that, because the only way you're keeping score on your health journey right now is by pounds on the scale. And we really got to get away from that, because I haven't seen that work ever. because that is a true diet behavior. And we're trying to undo that on this journey and get you to a new way of living. Are you still open to a new way of living? Yes, I am. I'm just frustrated because, you know, I'm in Nourished and I saw this guy lost 15 pounds in his first 4 minutes on the program. And I'm just ready to send my kit back, you know, and all the things. So then I get to go to another key point. You're frustrated because of, what's the word? What's the word, guys? They're frustrated because there's been a, what got in there and stole their joy about their own gratitude for program. Does anyone know? It's going to be a constant. There's two things that are going to bum your clients out. Yep, comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy and it will rob them of this program. So how are you setting that up on your night before call? If you know it's going to happen, do you make room for that on your night before call? Do you take the bullet out of the gun and say, now I'm going to add you to a page, but I'm going to ask you a big, big favor. Stay in your lane, because your body is unlike anybody else's in there. And you don't know if they had 4 Last Suppers, if they're 6'4" and 400 pounds. You don't know anything about them, really, right? And it's your body that you're going to become the expert on. And so then I tell them, can I just celebrate? So tell me again, because I want to make sure I have it all. What are your non-scale victories again? Well, I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. Awesome. What else? And we just make an inventory of all the things. And so what you're saying is you'd like to see a little bit more weight loss, because that's how you're currently keeping score as to this health change or not. Are you willing to start keeping score differently? Could we put the scale away for a little while and start obsessing on the habits? If we're going to obsess about anything here, why don't we obsess about the habits? Because the habits will lead to that predictable transformation. So those are some cornerstones. All right, let's see. Correct their language. Language is important, guys. I take a lot of notes when people are talking because I'm looking to hold on to some words that I want to ask them if I can speak into. So let me give you the one I hear a lot. Well, you know, I got on this call with you because I've been off plan. I've been off plan, and I'm, you know, sometimes when I'm on plan and then I'm off plan, you guys hear that a lot? And then I just say, this is where you got to play the dumb guy and just go off plan. Can you explain that? Well, you know, like when I go off plan and I eat other foods, like I still eat my lean and green, but I don't eat all the fuelings. And, you know, I'm still drinking my water, but like I'm having, you know, like, what do you guys call them? Like BLTs, bites, licks, and tastes. And I'm like, oh, okay. So what you're saying is off plan is powerful. That means in my mind, and you may not mean this, when someone's off plan, because the plan was getting healthy. Do you still want to get healthy? And they'll say, well, of course. Okay, so you're still on plan. You just had some off plan choices. You're not off plan. Off plan is like, we're no longer interested in health. Are you no longer interested in health? No, I'm very interested in health. I just thought, okay, and the reason why I'm correcting this, and I appreciate your trust in letting me correct this, because language is powerful and the brain is literal, okay? So when you say you're off plan, guess who cooperates with you fully? The brain. And it's like, oh, we're off plan, right? Eat that. So can we kind of take that out of your vocabulary for a little while? I'd like to end the D word. I'd like to end the off plan, because that has strong implications in your subconscious brain. And then we'll kind of keep going. And then I'll ask, how can I, now that we know what you want the most and we've reestablished your why, how can I help you stay accountable to what it is you want the most? So in service to your why, what do you think needs to happen this week? Well, you know, I need to just get back on plan. And I think I need to start reading my books. You know, I've been staying out of those. And okay, great. So hang on a second. I'd like to work this out in structured tension. So I'm going to go, your primary choice is what again? For this week, because we're getting yardage. We're not looking for Hail Marys and touchdowns anymore because you could see how those are frustrating you. Yes. Okay. So this week we want to create what in your health? This week I want to go back into fat burn. Da, 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 da. Okay, great. Got it. Your current reality is that you're self-reliant. Right now we're out of the systems, right? You've basically just been doing 50% of the program. You've been doing your food and your coach a little bit, right? So we're missing 2 legs on the bar stool. Yes. Got it. Are you willing to use all 4 components of the program this week? Yes, I am. Great. Do you need any accountability with that? I'm willing to help you until this becomes a habit. That's what we're here for. No, I think I got it. Are you willing to set some alarms? Do you have a minute to set some alarms before you go back off this call to your life and know that Monday at 5, Saturdays at 9, and then do you have your check-in scheduled with Allie this week? No, I don't. So are these secondary choices going to help you to get that done? Yes. Awesome. Again, thank you so much for being so open and coachable. I know this is hard for you. I know bringing health into public and struggles is hard. And I just want to thank you for your trust this morning. I really appreciate your vulnerability. So that's kind of how we go about it. So couple of things we say that are kind of fun is meeting makers make it, right? We've said that a lot where it's like, hey, meeting makers make it, but that's not true. Like you could make the meetings and not do any of the cognitive work in your life book, not talk audibly to your coach, right? And so we do want to have things that we say that make it more digestible for them. You know, I think at the end of the day is letting them know that you've done a fantastic job in a physical gym. You've done a fantastic job with the food, but the part that you're resisting is the mental gym. And I just want to explain something to you. And this is something I usually say on every call. There's nothing really wrong with you, Sandy. Here's what's wrong. Your brain needs to start helping you out. Okay. When you were little and you cried, they put a bottle in your mouth. When you got a good grade, you probably got taken out for ice cream or frozen yogurt. When you had a bad breakup, maybe a friend brought over that pint of Ben and Jerry's. So there's actually a neural pathway that when you're uncomfortable says, go get food. And it's strong. It's a strong neural pathway. And it takes time to reprogram your brain. And this is why I want you to settle in. How long has this been going on in your life? Remind me. You said 34 years or whatever it is. It's what do you think is realistic for us to work together, to partner together on true health, which is going to mean getting yardage every week, right? What do you think is realistic if it's taken 34 years to learn it in ways that are not serving you? What's a realistic time frame to unlearn it from your point of view? And usually they'll say a year. And I'll say, I agree with you. Let's open your life book and look at the index. There are 26 elements. They take 2 weeks each. That is 52 weeks to rewrite your story. And we can no longer afford to attach perfection, all or nothing thinking, scarcity, diet mentalities to your journey. Every single week, we are going to work together to help you get to that pinnacle of what you described on your health assessment. It's not going to be easy. You will need this community. You will need to be affirmed and celebrated. This is not easy work to do. Most people are not doing it. We live in an obesogenic world for that reason. And what you're doing needs great applause and massive equipping. So thank you today for allowing me to help you with this. And just so you know, the expectation is we will have lots of struggles, but that's the evidence of change. Because if you weren't struggling, nothing would be changing in your life, nothing. So that I am happy that this is happening to you and for you, because if you were not struggling, that means you would be operating in the status quo. So I hope that that helps you guys a little bit this morning. to give you some framework for that conversation. Lastly, just let me make one key point. Posture is so important. It is a mix of confidence in your coaching and an immense gratitude for their vulnerability. It's both. It's not, and there are times where you guys straight up got to coach it. You got to coach it. And it's not coaching them to this. This is what I see a lot on calls. Our destination in our mind is something for them that they never agreed to. We're taking them on a hardcore 5 and 1. They're not allowed. Hey, their readiness in element 2 might have been more like a 4 and 2 or a 3 and 3, or just to drink some water. But guys, one thing that kills us in this organization sometimes is like 5 and 1 or bust. 5 and 1 or bust. That's the definition of health for us, right? And you know what? That could strong arm them back to a diet mentality if fat loss in a progressive and predictable manner is not their pinnacle, right? So be very sure that your agenda is not coming in to their health journey, and that you are so clear on what it is that they're ready to create. And element 2, I ask my clients to let me know what element 2 taught them, because that's all about their internal readiness, and it can waver or be different at different times. And that is a very good indication of what they're ready to do. Lastly, when you close the call, I love to get them a visual. Here are your values. You value modeling health to your kids. You value longevity, vitality. And my role is to help slowly help your behaviors and your values to meet up. Right now, some of them are meeting up so beautifully, celebrate the heck out of that. And others are looking a little bit like that, okay? But that's what our role is here, is to help people say, my value is this, my behaviors are this, and to bring them close together.
Oh, wow. So awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. That was perfect. So many good takeaways. I saw a bunch in the chat, share some there. A couple things before we wrap up and I get you out of here with some steps. Again, the steps that we're using in Elevator are designed to help you, to help people. And I'm hoping that the training that we're doing is just the next level for your own personal health journey too. Like the things that we talked about today are for you. Like we talk about all the time, that this journey is just an extension of yours. And so just remember that frailty of yourself when you're in those moments when the client is struggling, like we all do every day. I mean, the reality is like, this is such great stuff. And we can't forget, we've been in those spaces. We know how we felt, and we just use empathy. And I'm going to say it, we use Zoom, because doing phone calls with people about these conversations, I don't know how you do. I don't know how you connect here and not learn to take it personally, right? Is what really happens. Like, get comfortable with the chaos, because just look at these stories. They weren't like linear. They weren't, right? I know Brian's story. It was like, we went here and then we went back, and then we, like, I cheer everybody. Like, I didn't have a perfect journey. I still don't. But at least if you can operate in the space of like, I understand there's going to be chaos, but I'm not going to spend a second creating it or perpetuating it. And so I think what Rachel's message is, just like step in, like with compassion and empathy, and just understand, like, if they're struggling, what are you making that to mean about you? Like, this is their journey, just like yours was not so perfect. So I think oftentimes we can just connect at that heart level. And like Rachel so eloquently said, like, being on plan is just about being like, you moving forward in your decision. Did you think that you weren't going to have any mistakes or sidesteps? We're learning how to do life all over again. We're learning how to think about it differently, responding differently. So give yourself some grace. Like when I hear that on calls, I'm just like, no big deal. Let's keep going. You ready? It hurt. I get it. I remember. I still do. Here's how I keep going. So I love it. Thank you guys so much for sharing this morning. I'm going to get you out of here. A little bit of cleanup you're going to see on the slide here is we want you, again, we're helping you, giving you tools that are helping you to be more consistent, because that's really the antidote for your fear of being consistent in your business, right? Typically, we kind of talked about it with our client journey. Our client's journey is our journey, right? Too, meaning us coaching. So if there's things that you need to clean up for you, like I did day 5, but kind of, I kind of did this. Yeah, it's kind of like being on or off, right? Like, yeah, we just clean it up. Like we're working on this. We're not trying to go at it perfectly, but if there's a commitment we made to ourselves, like, yeah, I'm going to go back and finish this out all the way. I want to learn what is here for me in this consistency or in this messaging, all of those things. So let me share my screen here, and we will get going here. All right. So you guys see day 9 here? Everybody see that okay? Thumbs up. Perfect. So day 9, consistent action, start 10 conversations. We already know you send out 10, you're probably getting 1 message back. So that's why we're having you do 10 a day, right? Because we want you to get used to talking to people in a very authentic way. And then the cleanup is just what I talked about. Go back if there's days that you miss, and just be honest to yourself. I think that's the most important thing, is learning to honor your own word to you. And just say, you know, I didn't do this part, and I want to finish well with this for me, not for anybody else, for me. And we want to encourage you. So put that information in your business thread. Element day 9, you're going to put those things there. You're reading 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to have the Williams leading the book challenge this morning. Or I'm not this morning. Here am I go. Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm excited for you guys to hear from them. They are just a ball of fire. I love those two. And so they're going to be, so invite all your clients, like, hey, bring a friend, let's go. They're going to love this couple. They just got started. They've been healthy for what, maybe a couple months, Sherrie, if that, and they're just changing so many lives. It's so exciting. Your sugar shot, if you've posted it, if you haven't, get it out there. It's like the perfect time for people to start thinking about what they're already thinking about with another way to approach it. So now you can send that out. And just a reminder, if you throw that sugar shot out and you've got that interaction going on it, don't post over it. Let it have some time to breathe and to connect more people and add more friends and all that stuff. That's really the purpose, is to find people that are looking for us. So thank you guys so much. We love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow morning from Sundance, Utah.